Hi everybody, it's Mark here. I thought I'd just come on and do a little comparison video. When it comes to buying decks and deck collections, I'm kind of a lot like this guy, this Knight of Cups character. I see something online or I think I fall in love and I gotta have it and I pursue it and I get it and it's exciting and fun. And then it kind of wears off and I go on to the next big love. But what I've been doing lately, because, tarot deck collection can get out of hand, I've been going back and revisiting the decks that I keep and do love, but maybe didn't use as much the first time around because there was a new love coming down the pike. So the deck I've been doing that with lately is the Vision Quest. Really a beautiful deck. I don't want to get into discussions of cultural appropriation. I don't know if there was any. I don't know these creators, what their background is. But this is a 1990s deck and it's a different time. So all that is to say, I did notice that in the minors particularly, this deck reminded me of the minors that are in this Thoth tarot, which I love. When it comes to the majors, it's the way I would put it, this is a very cerebrally intense deck, and this is very nature-based and accessible in what it's doing with its imagery. And lately I just wanted the more gentle, healing energy of a deck like this than the in-your-face imagery of a deck like this. But I like the basics, setup, system of the Thoth, or I guess I would say the Golden Dawn more than the Thoth, but the Thoth does stick to it very closely. Anyway, all that is to say, I want to show you a comparison of the minors in the Thoth to the Vision Quest tarot. I'm not going to compare the majors or the courts or the aces because they're very different. That's not where there's this overlay. Like this is the integration is the beautiful Temperance card in the Vision Quest. We have a medicine woman instead of a high priestess, which isn't, that far afield. But we have a grandmother instead of an empress. That kind of thing. A Vision Quest instead of a spiritual warrior rather than the Chariot. This is the Devil card, Torment. So on and on and on. And then the courts are basically figures. They're mother, daughter, father, son. And they are figures interacting for the most part with the element of their suit. And I do like that we see the actual element on the cards in this deck. So there's the Mother of Fire. So you get the idea. I don't need to go through all of those. This is the first time that I've actually looked at myself the minors in Thoth versus the Vision Quest. So I'm not even sure how closely they line up, but just having been using this deck, I felt that there was a kind of a mirroring there, and I thought, let me look into that, and I thought, well, why not just do a video on it? So here we have Dominion, Two of Wands, and here we have Will. So I really like this version of it. I even prefer this keyword. I think you can go more places with that. And of course the beautiful background and all of that you get from this card. But the wands, so to speak, are in the same position in both cards. So here we have Virtue for the Three of Wands. But here we have a beautiful, they look like lavender maybe, sticks, and this is Integrity. So same idea in the keyword, but I think a much more beautiful presentation here. here we have completion. That's my sacred circle sort of card. But I really love this. This is like incense burning to clear a sacred space. But they do have the same keyword, which is completion. What I don't like about the wand, I think the wands are my least favorite suit in the Thoth, with my cups being the favorite suit, because I just don't like all these magician wands. They just, you know, they don't really do it for me. So here we have 5 of Wands, strife, and here it's stress. So not much difference there, but I do enjoy seeing the actual element, and you don't see it on that card. Here we have victory, same name for both cards. This is really beautiful. Instead of valor, we have endurance, and we even have some of the same coloring here, and certainly the wands are in the same position. But I really like this, the last sort of, you know, burning embers, so it's endured seemingly overnight. The sun's coming up. There's a little more going on in the card that you can deal with. Of course, we don't get any Mars in Leo. We don't get any Decan information on these cards, so we just have to know that through our studies. These two look very similar. These two look very similar, but with different keywords, swiftness and insight. But the idea seems to be about the same when you look at the image. Here we have strength, and what I much prefer is inner strength. It's just a little more specific about what's going on, and I just really love the lightning strikes on the card and the overall coloration. We have oppression in both spots here. But here we get this skull image, which is a little more devastating an image. Okay, let's go into the cups. Again, I'm skipping the aces. So we have love and love again. And as I said, the cups is my favorite, just the most beautiful paintings in all of Thoth. So I'm probably going to pick the Thoth cup as my favorite as I go through these. But it's nice to know you can't really tell the gender here, so that's a nice little bonus with this deck. We have abundance and fullness, so basically means the same thing. We have luxury, and now we've moved abundance from the 3 to the 4 here, which is fine. In the Guild Tarot, it's called satiety. For this card, so it's the general idea of your full cups, but maybe stagnant over time. Here we have disappointment and versus loss, but they brought it is a Mars and Scorpio card, and they must know their Decan info, even though it's not on the card, because you can see the redness of Mars in the card. It is a beautiful card, actually. Here we have pleasure on both cards. This one is debauch, and this one is excess. So same idea, and even close to the same coloration. Okay, 8 of cups. We have indolence and stagnation, which sounds very similar, and kind of that dried out water vibe on both. We have happiness and joy, not much difference there. Now we have satiety in this deck on the 10 of cups, and here it's fulfillment. I prefer fulfillment, and I actually prefer this image. This one, I know it's Mars and Pisces, but it's a little too martial for my liking with all that red. I like to see the height of the cups to be much more watery, like I see here. Okay, let's go into the swords. What I like about the swords cards, which are air in the Vision Quest, is they've used feathers and birds for the swords. Very much like, I don't know if this is where she was inspired to do it from, but much like the Light Seers Tarot, they use birds and swords. And I got rid of that deck, and the thing I liked most about it was the birds and the feathers, and now I realize I still have that. Okay, I have a cat that is really getting in the way here. Okay. Peace and inner peace. So I like taking it just that extra step to inner peace. Here we have sorrow and doubt. I do like the rainstorm happening and the broken feathers and sort of the birds flying in, birds of prey perhaps. You know, they both sort of get the same idea, but sorrow is certainly sadder than doubt. But doubt is a very good keyword for a suit that has to do with the mind. We don't really see it elsewhere. Rest and contemplation, not much difference there, but you certainly get a feeling of serenity here and not so much here. These two are defeat and fear, so kind of different, but the way the feathers and swords have been laid out, exactly the same. Same colorization too. I'm just noticing that. We have science with the Six of Swords and clarity. So basically the same idea. We have futility in both of these. Interference in both of these. And we go from cruelty to hurt. So same-ish idea. Although, so when it comes to the Ten of Swords, I much prefer the negative thinking of the Ten of Air. Just so much more helpful in reading. Okay, last suit. Two of discs or earth. You'll see these are very similar and they both say change, but this one is much more beautiful. I have a lot of Taurus in my chart, so I like the earthiness of this suit, or of this deck, I should say. And I have very little air in my chart, so I'm not as much a fan of the air quality of the Thoth. Okay, this is a clear winner because this is my favorite card in this Vision Quest. So here we have works, and here we have growth. That is such a beautiful card. Goes way beyond what you can get from that card. So lovely. Okay. Power, earthly power, and this one is security. I like that keyword. And here we have worry, but with security we now go to insecurity. Which brings worry. Here in the 6 we have success, and this one's a bit odd. It's breakthrough. I guess it's a financial breakthrough, or I'm not sure, but this one gives me pause. Then we have failure, and with the same coloration we have depletion. I prefer this because I don't feel the Seven of Discs is an absolute failure. I think it can be fixed with some attention and love, but I can see these two are very similar. Here we have prudence and inner order. Similar. Here we have gain and accumulation. Same idea. And finally, we have wealth and wealth. Much prettier. So anyway, that's it. That's my comparison, and I would love to know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Bye.